Hello guys, welcome to this video, and today I'm going to have a little Bible study, and we are going to concentrate on Moses. And in this teaching today we are going to learn how to be a believer and how to have faith in God, and we are going to use Moses as our case study in this teaching, and we'll be using Exodus chapter 4 throughout. This teaching is going to keep us with faith in God, having faith in God, and it's going to strengthen us in our spirit, and also to bring us into light on the importance of having faith in God and believing in God and not on our own self or our own strength. So if you're new in this video, you can like and follow, you can subscribe, and let's get started. So in the book of Exodus chapter 4, we read from verse 1 when God encountered Moses, and it says that Moses answered and said, "But behold, they will not believe me nor hear me unto my voice, for they would say, the Lord has not appeared unto thee." So what happens here is that Moses encountered God, and God was telling him to go to his people so that he may lead them away from slavery. But Moses was not having faith in God, and because of his doubt and unbelieving, Moses gave a lot of reasons to God why he should not go there, and expressing out his failures and his weakness. And in verse 2 we read that the Lord said to him, "What is that in your hand?" And said, "A rod." So here God is going to show Moses some signs so that he may believe that God is able to do something that is weak, and to strengthen something that is weak, and to use our weakness to our strength. And he said, verse 3, "Cast it on the ground," and he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Moses fled from it. So here in verse 3, God turns the rod which Moses had in his hand into a snake, and this was the first sign to Moses. But after Moses seeing this sign, Moses decided to run away, and he went back and picked the rod and the snake and turned back to rod. And verse 4 says that the Lord said unto Moses, "Put forth your hand and take it by the tail," and put forth his hand and caught it, and became a rod in his hand. Verse 5, that they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared unto you. So this was a sign for the Israelites to believe that God had appeared to Moses. And we need to be careful about these signs, because they are going to open our eyes further in this video. Because these signs, they were not meant for the Israelites, but they were meant for Moses. When we read ahead, we are going to learn that these all signs that God is going to show Moses, they are not for the Israelites, but they are for Moses. Because God's calling to Moses was personal to Moses, and he was not calling all of the Israelites, but he was calling only Moses, so that he may lead the Israelites away from their slavery and to freedom. And in verse 6, we read that, "And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now your hand into your bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow." So the second sign was a leprous sign, where Moses was told to put his hands on his chest or his bosom, and he turned to be leprous. And then Moses took this hand and placed it back on his chest, and it became back whole again. And in this sign we learn that since God had caused sickness on the hands of Moses, and also the same God caused healing, here God is showing his power over sickness and diseases. And if you're going to read further in the whole book of Exodus, you're going to learn how God used sicknesses to destroy the people, and also God healed them with the same problem. So here God is showing his power over sickness, and showing that he can heal anything that is going to cause unto man. So here is showing a sign and a power of healing. Verse 7, and he said, put your hand into thy bosom again, and put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again into his other flesh. This means that his hand was healed, just like it was before. Verse 8, it shall come to pass, if that they will not believe thee, neither hear to your voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And this is where God is going to show Moses a third sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hear unto thy voice, that you shall take of the water of the river, and pour it on the dry land, and the water which you shall take out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. So the third sign is about Moses taking water from the river and pouring out on the land, so that it may turn to be blood. In this sign, we will learn further if you read the whole book, where God originally now turns water into blood as a sign of plagues, one of the plagues. And later the plagues are being withdrawn by God, showing over his power over everything that the Israelites were going to face further in this book. And when we read in verse 10, Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heareful, nor since you have spoken unto your servant, but I am slow of speech and of slow tongue. So here Moses has brought out another excuse of why he should not be the one who is leading the Israelites out of captivity. And he's saying that he's of a slow tongue and he's not eloquent in his speech. And God answers Moses, who has made your mouth, or who makes the dumb or deaf or the seeing or the blind? Have not I the Lord? So God is assuring Moses, I'm the one who made the blind, the dumb, the mouth. What is not hard for me to do? Verse 12, God is telling Moses to go and that he will be with his mouth and he will teach him what Moses is going to say. And when we read in verse 13, and he said, O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him who you will send. So here Moses is blatantly refusing to go and telling God that you should send someone else who will go, because I will not be the one who is going. So that is Moses saying. And verse 14, God is angered by Moses because he has shown Moses all this sign, but Moses is still sticking on his unbelief and his doubt. And in verse 15, from verse 15, God is choosing Aaron, who is a Levite, and also who is Moses' brother, to speak on behalf of Moses. And here we should learn that we have two people now, Moses and Aaron. And Moses is different from Aaron because he has a weakness of speech, he's slow in tongue, and is not an eloquent speaker. But Aaron, his brother, is a good speaker and is eloquent in his speech. But even though God has Aaron who can speak well, God is still using Moses, and is saying to Moses from verse 16 that if Moses, that the word that Moses is going to speak, they will come from God, so that he may give unto Aaron, and not that Aaron is going to be the one who is speaking to Moses. Learn that God is using Moses' weakness as his strength and Aaron's strength as his weakness, because you can have a strength of speaking, but you cannot have the words of God. Therefore, God is using Moses as a speaking vessel so that he may speak to Aaron, and Aaron may deliver the message to the people. And this is the most powerful part in this teaching, that God can use our weaknesses and he may ignore what we may term as our strength, so that he may strengthen us. God does not call us because of our strengths or those things which we think that we can do easily, but he calls us into doing those things which are difficult for us, because it's the one who is going to strengthen us in these our weaknesses, and He will make our weaknesses to be our strength. And when we read in when we read Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5, it warns us about trusting on our own thoughts or our understanding. And it tells us to only rely on God and trust in His strength. So we should therefore have faith in God and trust in Him. And we should be able to do other things which we can do by having faith in God. And also we learn that in order to to do miracles, signs and wonders, we need first to believe in God. And we cannot do anything without believing in God first. In Mark chapter 16 verses 17 to 18, tells us that those who believe in God, verse 17 says that, and these signs shall follow them that believe, and in my name shall they cast out devils, they shall speak with new tongues, they shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. So then, after the Lord had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven and sat on the right hand of God. So here we definitely see the importance of believing, and not believing only, but believing in God. So if we believe in God, all these signs, we shall do them easily because of our faith in Him and not our own strength or our own understanding. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate if you are going to like, follow, and subscribe. And I hope to see you on my next video. Thank you so much.